religion and scared about religion is the use of it in a way that justifies hurting other people. And it seems like Carmelites that way can do that.
Yeah, then it's not religion. But of course it has been used like that. Of course, I'm not denying that it does. Yeah. So here's two levels of answer to your question, okay? It's a very, very good question. One, what other explanations are there for why poor people exist, or why dogs exist in India? What other explanations are there? Here's the only other two, besides karma. Okay? There's only three. And then now you can go home and work like I have for 10 years to try to find more than three. When I first heard only three, I go, I have a PhD, I'll figure out more than three. These are the three coherent worldviews for why things happen, okay? Why things happen in general. One, just random, no reason. How's that one working so far? Just random. There's no reason why there are poor people in the world. It's just bad luck. They have bad luck. It's too bad. Okay, that's number one. God did it. Number two. God is micromanaging the world, and God has decided that there will be poor people in sub-Saharan Africa, and you'll be rich. Number three, it's all karma. Those are the only three. Now, holding number three is not comfortable sometimes when it comes to like, well, you know, does that mean that poor people were not generous in the past? You go, yes, must have been. Because that's karma. That's what karma means. What's the other possibilities to explain why there are poor people? One or two. And one or two takes all kinds of there is no responsibility then. Human beings have no responsibility. If either number one or number two means humans have no responsibility for their actions. Now, wait a minute. Then second level, okay? So that's first thing to put in your pipe and smoke. If you don't like number three, then what are the other options for explanation? Here's the other one. You have the karma to see poor people in India. There are no poor people in India out there. You have the karma that forces you to have a subjective experience of a world where there are poor people in India. So you're responsible for the poor people in India. They're not responsible. Okay? That's a deeper reason. Will you hear the nights we were talking about the subjective apparatus and all of that?
I think so.
Yeah, everything's being filtered through our subjective apparatus. The perception of poor people in India, no less than anything else, is filtered through your subjective apparatus. If we had a different subjective apparatus, there would be no poor people.
Well, not only that, but she's assuming that their life is worse than ours, and it may not necessarily be true.
They could all just be pretending to be poor people in India to try to help you be more compassionate.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
I haven't been to India, but I have lived with other people, and
well,
you know what? It's tough.
There's actually no way that you can tell that they're not doing that. When you meet another person, you have two completely unverifiable assumptions that you can make. Unless you can read their minds. All people who can read their minds are excused from this exercise. But if you can't read their minds, you have, did I say unverifiable? Because you can't read their minds. You can assume that they're a suffering schmuck, excuse my language, for those of you who know what schmuck means. They can a suffering person just like you are. Or you can assume that they're a divine being trying to help you. Neither one are verifiable. Which one's more interesting? Which one's more helpful to you? You see? So those are, I guess we got 3 or 4 answers to your question now. Right? About 3 or 4, yeah? In the corner? Did you have a question?
You said you believed, or you made the statement earlier that a beggar in India would almost have no access to a spiritual life.
Yeah.
And now this answer suggests that could be a very rich spiritual life.
Well, in a way, you could say, if you were a beggar from your point of view, you would have no spiritual life. If I was suddenly put into the position, with my mind, if I was suddenly put in the position of being a beggar in India, I would have no spiritual life. But I can't really, it's true to say that I can't really judge who beggars are in India. I don't really know their lives. But it seems like that they have no access to a spiritual life. To me, it seems like that to me. Given my mind.
Good bet.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? Seems like it. All right, so that's refuge. Here's another way to take refuge, okay? This is a cool way to take it. This is a really cool way to take refuge. This is what you can call result refuge. You take refuge in your own future perfection. You take refuge in yourself as a perfected being. Someday you will be a perfected being. We say that in Buddhism they say every being has what they call Buddha nature, which means you have the potential to be a perfect being. And given the fact of unlimited time, eventually you're going to reach that potential. Given the fact that there's no limited time, right? It's like the odds are 1 in a billion. You go to Vegas or something and you play a game. It's 1 in a billion. If you stay there long enough, it's going to hit. And we're staying long enough in this samsaric life, and eventually it'll hit. And eventually we'll be enlightened. So what you do to take refuge in your own future enlightenment is you say, me who is present now. Because when you're enlightened, all time will be the same time. You will escape time, and all time will be the same time. Me who is present now, please help me. Enlightened me, Buddha me, who is present now, please help me. I think I'm a schmuck. I think I'm a suffering being, but I know that some part of me is already enlightened. Some future part of me is already enlightened. You take refuge in yourself, in your future self. It's called result. So that's a really cool way to do it. And then you're also kind of, one of the implications of this is that you're trying to remember your best inclinations. You're trying to remember your best inclinations. Some part of you is a future Buddha. Some part of you now is a future Buddha. So you're trying to get in touch with that. And not embarrass yourself. So please, you can do it like this. Please me, don't let me embarrass me. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify, it sounded like you were saying that all beings have the potential to be Buddhas. That includes like termites, any living thing?
Yeah, all beings with minds. That's what living beings means. Is being sentient, or it means that they have a mind. Minds and feelings. So all beings, without exception. Because all beings are empty, what we call empty. Means they have no nature of their own. They are not hardwired as termites. We're not hardwired as suffering schmucks. We have infinite capability because we're not one thing or the other. We're like blank screens. Yeah. So because of that capability, because of the emptiness we say in Buddhism, because of emptiness, all beings will be Buddhas. Because we have the potential.
They would have to have like a human incarnation in order to actually become...
Well, that's a different question. Yeah, that's a different. You can't become a Buddha as a termite. That's true. But they said, if it's true that if you can reason your way to one rebirth, you have to reason your way to in unlimited rebirths. So here's the only way to reason to one rebirth. Can I reason to? Can I have any sense of intellectual reason to say that I must have had a past life? And if I have one past life, I must have had countless past lives because of the same reason. Here's how it goes. What was the immediate cause of your present state of mind? What was the immediate cause of your present state of mind? It's the state of mind right before the present state of mind. Okay? Right? Yes?
Yes.
I want this gentleman to nod his head. Yes?
I don't want to limit it to that, but I...
You don't want to limit it to that? Well, what could have been otherwise? That there was some like random meteorite that hit you? I mean, it has to be in a cause, in a cause and effect chain, right? So the cause and effect of the cause of the effect that is your present state of mind must have been the previous state. It flopped over. You had one state of mind one nanosecond ago that flopped over into this state of mind, and it flops over into the next state like that. Right? All right. Well, just entertain the idea that that's possible. Okay. And then you can go home and put that in your private smoker. So if that's the case, then what was the immediate cause of the previous state of mind? It's the state of mind right before that one. And back you go. So what was the cause of the first state of mind that I had, the first moment of consciousness that I had in this life, in my mother's womb. What was the cause of that? It has to be a previous moment of consciousness. And if that's the case, then there's no possibility of a first cause. Because every cause is simultaneously a cause and an effect of a previous cause. And that's the chain of causality, actually. That's what causality really means. The idea that there could be a first cause to your mind or a first cause to the universe as a whole is completely illogical when it comes to causality. It's an exception. It would be a complete exception to causality. So that's the reasoning. And if that's the case, then we have been everything to everybody, not just once but countless times. We have had every possible relationship with every possible being, not just once but countless times, which is a little mind-blowing. We have been a janitor countless times. We have been friends with every being countless times. We have been Miss America countless times. On countless planets. Yeah, so given the enormity of countless, eventually we're all going to get enlightened. Okay? Even if it's 1 in a trillion, even if it's one, what's up bigger than trillion? Quadrillion or whatever? Gajillion? If it's 1 in a gajillion, as long as there's a chance, and there has to be a chance because it's countless, then we will eventually all get enlightened. So that's refuge. That's result refuge.